Jay, and Seth.
What's been the most impressive thing about Arizona this season?
They have 8 starters, and the guys that come off the bench have totally bought into their roles. I think it's their versatility. I think it's they can impose their identity on the game. They're going to pound you in the paint. They're going to be in transition. They're going to get to the free throw line. They have any number of guys on any given night that can take over a game, and they're doing it. Probably the most impressive thing is starting 3 freshmen, which is really hard to do at this level, and yet they're doing it seamlessly.
Did you say you have 5 minutes for the interview? I just want to make sure that he gives me enough time to.
Go ahead and pontificate.
I would just, to elaborate on his, I would just say I love their size and their physicality. I'll keep it very simple. And I sometimes think, as a former player and as a guy who watches a lot of basketball, it's good to get a wake-up cause, a wake-up call. I think Seth and I often talk about teams finding causes. And sometimes when you're riding high and you're playing well, the coach feels like he has your attention, and he does. But when you go through a loss, it just wakes you up a little bit, kind of snaps you back to reality. And this team staying hungry, considering how much they win, is a critical element to them finishing the deal this season.
See, piggybacking on that, I think having games that have game pressure, and that's exactly what they had. Is they had game pressure. That's good. They haven't had game pressure in a while. They've only had about 3 games where they've had game pressure. So you can't simulate that in your practice. Now, they've been great at the end of the games. They got a great closer in Jaden Bradley. But having those experiences where I don't think you have to lose those games. You want to win those games. But having those experiences before you get to the tournament, I think adds value, and it gives, as a coach, all right, hey, Braden, you went too early, or, whatever adjustments that you want to make. We didn't make the defense move, or, maybe we needed to reverse the ball. We didn't have to score. We had plenty of time left. We had to just get a good shot, not the first shot. So game pressure is a valuable lesson.
We saw a little bit the other night, but what do you see? Is there a weakness here? A lot of people talk about how complete this team. What's the formula to beat them, I guess?
I just think, look, as you play into the tournament, you have to be able to space the floor. I think, 3-point shooting will be something that will be interesting to watch if they're able to make shots from the outside. I don't question their ability to get offensive rebounds, to dominate you in the paint. The physicality in the defensive end, their matchups are incredibly hard to kind of prepare for. But you win at a high clip, you got to make shots from the outside to open up the paint.
We disagree all the time. To me, they lost the other night because they did not impose their identity on the game. In fact, if anything, their identity got imposed on them. If you look at it, Kansas gets 40 points in the paint. Kansas got to the free throw line. Kansas got out in transition. Arizona, they win games because they get to the offensive glass. They win games because they play in transition. They get to the free throw line, so they become 3-point players. So, to me, yeah, we'd like to be. They're not a volume 3-point shooting team. That's not who they are. They can make enough 3-point shots to keep the defense honest. But their advantage, who are you and how do you win? Where is their advantage? Their advantage is the speed they play with. Their advantage is the ability to get paint touches. Their advantage is to post the ball or get the ball on the glass. So everyone can't be everything. You've got to stay true to your identity. And the one thing we don't talk about enough, they are an elite defensive team, a physical, elite, connected defensive team. And that goes right along with part of their identity. They are hard to score against. They're hard to get to the rim against. McCreevis, his ability to protect the front of the rim. They guard the 3-point line, and it's hard to get a good look against them. So, but we always argue. He's the little brother I never wanted.
Sorry.
We kind of figured maybe you guys would be here for this one, or maybe they're playing Kansas here in a couple of weeks. Do you guys have any input on where you go from week to week, or how's that process?
Aaron Katzman to your right. He's our boss. You can ask him that question. I don't want to get fined.
No,
So how about your thoughts on just being here? And I think it's been 3 or 4 years. 4 years since you.
I mean, I obviously there are ties to my career in Arizona. I have.
I knew we were going there.
But like, no, like deeper than that though too. Like I played at the Capitol Classic with Jason Gardner. I've known Steve Kerr for a long time. Obviously, Richard Jefferson and I've known each other for a long time. We played with the New Jersey Nets together for a short stint. Miles Simon is somebody that I've known for a long time, and obviously have watched his game and have watched tape with him. So I think there's so much greatness that has came through here that it's always cool to come back here and see it. I don't think I never got a chance to come here on a recruiting trip, right, to see what this school and what this culture was all about. So I think getting a chance to experience it, but also through the words of guys that I've known for a long time. Like I used to go down and visit RJ and Luke Walton literally in Manhattan Beach in California and spend time with them. So to see how they were raised and obviously around, the coaching history here is pretty cool to always come back and witness.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit strange for me because the last time we were here, Coach Olson was here. And, Coach Olson coached at Long Beach State. I had a connection with him through that. When I first went to California and took the Long Beach State job, I still remember we're in a little gym at Dominguez Hills High School. It's about 100 degrees, and Coach is there with a blue blazer, a starch white shirt, khaki pants, and he just looked different than everyone else with their little polo shirt on with their, their logo, and just had so much respect for how his teams played and how hard they played, and he was always so kind to me and gracious to me as a former Long Beach State coach. He was a person that I could pick up the phone and call, especially when we first moved out to California, to say, Coach, give me 3 or 4 people for sure I need to connect with. Or even after we came here and played here, I think the Sean Elliott teams wasn't a great experience, by the way. It was my first year as a head coach. And I remember getting a call from him after that game, saying, hey, just stay with what you're doing. You're going to be fine. Which those types
That's
of
after he
things,
kicked your ass?
bad. Don't look it up. But those are the type of things that resonate with you as a young coach.
You guys have obviously traveled around the country a ton already this season, seen a lot of basketball players. After the sort of preseason snub that Jaden Bradley got, do you guys think he's playing at an All-American level this season?
Yeah, I love Jaden Bradley. He's an old school point guard.
Mm-hmm.
He defends the ball. He gets you in offense. He leads. He communicates. There are so many. We're so inundated with all these great freshmen, but he's the perfect guard for this team. He is the perfect player for this team because he absolutely can coach that locker room. He absolutely understands what it takes to get where you guys potentially want to go. And I think he's as good a point guard and leader as any point guard in the country, and especially for this team with playing with 3 freshmen and a player that hadn't played in a year.
So I'll give you another one. The college game day crew typically calls me Petty LaBelle because I'm always the person that just finds little things that get me aggravated. That's how I play my best. That's how I compete. I think it's fascinating that, whether number 1, number 2, right there, the best team in the country, that we don't talk about the quality of players at the national level that should be talked about this way, right? When we lead conversations, or when you look on channels and conversations about the top freshmen, you hear Cameron Boozer, AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson. Like, you don't hear Koa Pete, you don't hear Burries, you don't hear their names as mentioned as others, right? Or Bradley being the best point guard in the country. You don't hear that quite often. And I think there's a lot of causes here for a team that's in position to win the whole thing to still feel as if they have a major chip on their shoulder. And I love that position psychologically.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge advantage for them.
2001 reunion here last week. I think your name came up somewhere.
I don't know why.
I don't know, does Duke do anything like that 25 years later? And does it surprise you? Does it surprise you that
It's 24/7, 7 days a week, 12 months a year. I mean, come on now. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, and also too, does that surprise you that the memories are still so strong? I mean, in fact, the guy who's renaming the arena talked about how Dunleavy went off in that game like 25 years later, like it just happened or something.
So we just had our 25-year reunion, and we all got together and had wine with Coach K and watch kind of a highlight reel of that season. And after we left, we all went to go have dinner together, and we had the 2001 national championship game on. And we kind of watched tape together as a team, which we haven't done, obviously, since 2001. And it was really cool because we had the old school scouting report on a piece of paper of like what that was for the matchups. And you start going through the names that played in that game, and we just saw, look, if Dunleavy doesn't get hot, we don't win that game. I don't know if Gilbert, how he plays with his shoulder, not being in that situation, how that game is. They were absolutely loaded. I used to hate guarding Jason Gardner. I should have gotten my third foul in the first half. There's no doubt about that.
What else is new when you play Duke?
I just remember every detail of that game because we lived it, and obviously somebody who's spiteful over here because they didn't beat us too many times, and that's okay.
Beat you a couple times.
Yeah, they did.
They stormed the court at Duke when we.
But look,
they stormed the court. The low point in the history of Duke basketball.
I don't know, man. That was just to close it off. Like Gilbert Arenas, Richard Jefferson, Luke Walton. Jason Gardner. The name, Michael Wright. The names go on and on and on in that game. I can't tell you how we got it, but it was a hell of a game to be on the court.